Hey everyone, my name is Jake, and Tamoor and I got the chance to play Cyberpunk 2077 last week. We asked you for some questions, and then we were going to go through and answer them. Well, we've got a ton of questions here, and we're going to go through these. But before we do that, if you want more stuff on Cyberpunk, make sure to check out our videos we have up on GameSpot right now, because there are a ton, and there are more coming. But anyway, without further ado, should we get to this?
That's all.
First one's from Adrian Dennis. Dennis, probably Dennis. Are we getting any Witcher 3 Easter eggs?
I believe there is one Witcher 3 Easter egg at the start. I didn't see it myself, but I heard whispers of it. Did you see it?
Yeah, so the only reason I added this was because Ed, our Australian editor, mentioned that he did see a magazine with Siri on it, so I figured I'd add that in. If there are more Easter eggs, who knows? I'm sure there are, but as of now, we do have that. You can find a magazine with Siri on it, apparently.
There's almost certainly going to be loads. I bet you will find a Gwent card. I bet you'll get a silver sword. I bet you'll have some sort of Geralt of Rivia customization option. I think it would be wild if CD Projekt Red just ignored the entire Witcher series and was like, forget about it.
Yeah, there's got to be more than just that. Next one's from NeoVisual. Can you tackle quests that are a higher level than your current level? You totally can. I tried this a couple times and died. You probably can't access every single quest, every single side quest right from the beginning, but there are definitely quests that you will be under-leveled for, but you can still try and you'll most likely die.
Yeah, there's the thing that kind of stops you. I found in my experience, the quests themselves aren't level gated. The enemies around them or involved in them are level gated because they'll be too high. Having said that, there is ways to kind of brute force it. Like, for example, one of the quests that I did, the enemies were way higher level than me, so I realized I can't really engage them in combat. But I got a fair chunk into it just by using stealth. And avoiding combat entirely. However, then there are like at a certain point, I feel like you'll reach a point where there's no kind of pushing past it, because you'll need to have some ability, like a hacking ability or some sort of stealth ability that you're currently not available to get because of your level, to kind of progress in an effective way. I imagine that the game is open enough that people who really, really are dedicated to bending the systems and finding like the loopholes will be able to brute force a bunch of quests, but it definitely seems like it's doable.
Yeah, and one way I got around it too was just by using my car to run over people that were higher level than me. That kind of worked. Next question is from Nathan Rain. Does our character need to sustain themselves by drinking, eating, and sleeping?
I was never told nor prompted to eat food at any point. Not as a necessity anyway. The only healing property I had was the kind of like gas thing that you use. But there are vending machines in the game.
I ate some things, but it was just in order to heal. I didn't find there was nothing telling me I had to sleep or had to eat or drink or whatever it might be. Maybe there's some settings you'll be able to tweak when the game comes out if you want to make it like more realistic or whatever. But based on what I played, it seemed like you didn't need to worry about that.
Yeah, there's no Morgana, like futuristic Morgana going, hey, you're tired, you should go to bed. Or you're tired, you should eat, or you're hungry, you should eat some food, as far as we know. Although I would be all right for like a Cyberpunk Morgana.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that. I mean, maybe that's what Keanu Reeves will be doing, right?
Yeah. Hey, samurai, you gotta go to bed.
Next one's from Ali Atya. How was the driving in this game?
I thought it was fine. Like nothing. It's not like you're going to be jumping in and being like, yo, this is Burnout now. It does what it needs to do. I feel like it is as serviceable and good as the horse riding in The Witcher, if you know what I'm trying to say. Like, no one's out there being like, yo, the horse riding in The Witcher is amazing. It's functional. It gets you from A to B. It's cool. The interesting part of the vehicle stuff is I think it's fairly random. It's like written into some missions, but like you'll have car combat sections, which like a gang might just run up on you and start trying to do a drive-by, in which case, if you're with Jackie, you can like lean out and start some combat stuff. But otherwise, it's very functional, no better or worse than a GTA style driving around a city. But your car is very cool, and you've got a variety of cars, I think.
Yeah, I drove around in V's car, which is the Quadra VTEC, which was I mean, it was pretty responsive. It felt pretty good to drive. And then I also drove around in a van, which felt less responsive, as a giant van should. But yeah, I mean, from my experience, it seemed pretty good. Like, it'll be a good way to get from point A to point B if you're not getting distracted by everything like I was. Next one is from Anthony Z117. Will there be a lot of NPCs driving, walking around the city? Yeah, I mean, when I was playing, I noticed a ton. Like, there are some areas that are super crowded, others that aren't. Every time I'd hop out of my car to do a mission, I'd start a giant traffic jam because my car would be in the middle of the road and I wouldn't bother to park it because it's a video game. Why am I going to park?
Yeah, there's definitely a bunch of different characters out there, and they're not just like walking around, they're like just walking up and down the road like they would in, I don't want to say GTA 5 because it was way better in GTA 5, but like previous GTA games before, like GTA 4. And there wasn't like there didn't need to always be an inciting incident for them to do something. Like, in GTA, everyone walks on their own path until like you punch one, and then it's like chaos for a few seconds and people start running in different directions. That's kind of happening regardless of what you're doing. I'm not saying like if you do that nothing happens. You can like instigate that kind of stuff, but it's also happening in the periphery, so it does feel quite alive and quite dynamic.
Yeah, we also got like an optic thing later in the demo, which let us scan anyone, and it would give you like their name, a bit of details about them, if they were wanted or not. Kind of similar to Watch Dogs 1 and 2 did that, which was kind of interesting, gave a little personality to the characters you might see. But yeah, there are a lot, for sure. Next one's from Krishya Chaitanya. Do our past life stories like Street Kid, Corporate, and Nomad affect the story and gameplay as we proceed further in the game? If they do, how? Please explain. So we probably can't answer this question to the fullest, but we can say that the life path you pick will affect the opening of the game, and then it will affect certain dialogue choices you might have later. And I'm willing to bet it'll have something to do with the story at some point, but we didn't play enough to really see.
Yeah, I think I mentioned it in my preview, where it immediately comes into play in the Street Kids prologue mission, the life path mission, where one of the kind of debt bookies, or whatever they call the person that the bartender owes a debt to, when you speak to him, he's kind of threatening and throwing his weight about, and because you're a street kid, you just remind him that he's not from Night City, he's come to Night City, he's an out-of-towner, and so you're like, you should be more polite to people who are from Night City. We recognize who isn't our own, and we will take care of them. So you can assert your dominance as being a kid from the streets and aware and street smart. And there are opportunities to do that through dialogue here and there. And it did kind of have an effect on that dude. He kind of backed off a bit. So I imagine that they're going to play on that more and more. And like Jake said, it could work its way into the story in a core way.
Next question we have here is from Mitch Guzman. My mom's question, can you go on a date with Keanu Reeves?
Kinda, yeah. I mean, he's
in your head.
He's in your head. So he's living in your head rent free. So every day is a date with Keanu Reeves, if you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm up for that.
Yeah, I mean, and especially if he serves that Morgana role where he's like, "Go to sleep, samurai.
Brush your teeth, samurai."
Yeah. That's what I really want now. I want him to be just like a Morgana-like figure that's constantly doing, "Hey, go to bed."
All right, next question from Feral Changeline, something like that. Can we go on random pointless rampages? Yes, you can. I actually did this in mine. I stabbed an NCPD officer right at the beginning because I wanted to see what would happen. And sure enough, all hell broke loose. I wasn't super well equipped, so I didn't want to get in any big fights. But yeah, you can pull out a pipe, start hitting people if you want. Just in that very GTA fashion, or you can just mess around if you want.
And it does have that GTA style of like police are coming after you with escalating levels depending on what you're doing. So you can have that Rampage GTA style experience if you want it.
Yeah, they did say they're still tweaking how that's going to work. So I don't know if I want to share exactly what happened in my game, just because it might be different. But yeah, it was what I saw was very similar to GTA 5 sort of star level system. Next question from Koala YD. Are missions that include nudity essential in the story, or can they be skipped? I live with my mom at home. Well, I got bad news for you because right when you start up the game, if you pick a female character, you're gonna see some titties right away because there's frontal nudity at least in that opening part.
Yeah, I mean, like I know how you feel. I remember being a kid and a teenager. I think you're not going to be able to. You won't see it coming. When there is nudity, you won't see it coming. And if you're not careful, your mom might see it coming.
Yeah, and then that game's going back to GameStop or EB
It's
Games.
going. You're going to get rid of it. It's always just like, oh, you've walked into a room and there's Magnum Dong. I imagine that's what it's like you won't be able to predict it. It's not like one of those movies where you're like, oh, it's getting a bit hot and heavy, better get my hand on the remote just in case a family member walks in. Nah.
All right, next question from Ario Speedweed. Is a swords only playthrough possible? Would really like to do a ninja hacker type run through of the game. I think so. I mean, when I played, I used a pipe a lot. I also used a gun a lot, but I mean, it seemed like if I wanted to, I could have just used my pipe for the entire time. Maybe you couldn't do a sword right at the beginning because you have to buy a sword, so you might be stuck with like a knife or something simple. But yeah, it seems like you could do that if you wanted to.
Why didn't this person go for Oreo Weed Wagon?
I don't know.
Come on.
That would have been better.
It's right there. I wasn't listening to anything you said, Jake, there, because I was thinking about Oreo Weed Wagon. But yeah, maybe swords are doable. Yeah, sure. Why not?
Next one's from Beefcake, and the question is, where to strip club?
If a club strips and no one's around to see it, does the strip club? That's what I'm saying. Where does strip club indeed?
I mean, I feel like they probably don't need strip clubs, right? Because they've got brain dance. They can just like hook their brain into a machine and then they can just have sex in a chair, but not have sex. Just, yeah.
It's the Demolition Man approach. Demolition Man, obviously, the greatest movie of all time. But there are like the mission where you are using the brain dance function for the first time takes place in a kind of strip club, seedy kind of environment. So I imagine if you just take the right door, you might end up in a room with naked people. But yeah, Oreo Weed Wagon. It was right there.
If you're watching this, Ario Speedweed, you messed up.
You messed up, man.
You messed up. Well, anyway, those are some questions that you guys asked and we answered for Cyberpunk 2077. Keep them coming. If you've got more questions, you can find us on Twitter at JacobDeck or TamoorH. We'll try to respond to your questions there as well. We probably won't do another video like this, but like I said, keep those questions coming and stay tuned to GameSpot because there is a lot of Cyberpunk stuff that's already there and we're working on more as we speak now. So see you next time.
Go to sleep, samurai. We've got a city to burn.